Right, great stuff. Okay, well, I hope everyone's doing good. And let's just get into these charts. So the US dollar is under pressure. We've pumped up into fresh highs of this ongoing bullish cycle that's been weeks and weeks and weeks of upside. And we've taken out these highs. And we were talking about prospects of a move up into the 107s. So that's still on the cards. However, currently we are stalling on the rally. That's the daily chart. And today we're pulling back a bit. This is the 4 hour chart now. We're pulling back into that rally, that displacement. And if we measure the entire rally from bottom to top, we've got a 38.2 Fibbo that we're coming in towards. And then below there, the 50% mean reversion down into the 105.37s. Now, today we have the consumer confidence, which is probably going to be the more important data out of this sort of this slew of data that's coming up in the next 20 minutes or so. And then, of course, we're going to have the Wall Street Open, 9:30 New York time. So the consumer confidence comes out half an hour after the New York Open. But that's not to say that um, we can't trade anything between now and then. I personally would prefer not to be in anything. I'd like to see how the market reacts to consumer confidence. We've got prospects of a government shutdown, and that could be as soon as this Saturday. Now, with that on the cards, the US dollar I mean, on the knee jerk, you'd expect it to weaken off, but overall, the overriding factor is that it's a safe haven currency. And given the um, performance of the US economy compared to that of, say, Europe, China, and so forth, and the central bank divergence themes as well, you'd expect it to underpin the dollar. But sort of the knee jerk reaction would be caution um, around the US dollar as markets look to sort of depict as to what would be the risks of a government shutdown. Okay, so um, just something to bear in mind, really. Um, One of the other implications would be the delay of US data. Um, so keep that in mind as well. I mean, with the Federal Reserve, the Fed would be relying on data sets such as, in the main, inflation data such as PCE, consumer price index releases. So, um, it's yet to be seen as to whether a government shutdown would affect the release of US data. Um, so I think the emphasis would be therefore put on Federal Reserve speakers between a government shutdown and the next Fed meeting um, for November. But anyway, that's all stuff that's really just sort of floating around the market, potentially um, weighing on sentiment. But nonetheless, what we've seen, if we look at US yields, I mean, they shot up yesterday, um, both the 10 and 2 years, more so the 10s. They're coming off. They're weighing on the US dollar, but I'd be a bit cautious selling out of the US dollar. Um, but for now, I mean, there is a corrective theme in play, and there's no reason why this can't come into the origin of this move, which is all the way down in here, which obviously would play out across the board in currencies such as the euro, directly related to the Dixie, sterling, Aussie, and gold, and so forth. So as usual, let me know what pairs you want me to go through specifically. But I've just gone through a board of opportunities for the day ahead, starting with gold. Now, gold we talked about as a prospect for a move up into the 4-hour M formation neckline. Now, this has been a runaway market. It's taking out support as we speak, um, which is rather bizarre considering that the US dollar has been on the back foot. Um, and yields is also. So I'd be cautious selling gold, and I'd be more keen looking for a. So there's the dump, and we're looking for the pump later on in the session. Well, in the near future. So it's 8:40 New York time, but I'd be looking for this as an opportunity to be getting long. Um, I don't know if there's anything that's come out in the news. I'll take a quick look. I'm not sure why that's selling off so aggressively. But gold tend to have a mind of its own anyway. So I've sort of given up looking for reasoning. I'm just looking at the price action and looking for opportunities in market structure. So in this respect, I'm just taking a glance. I don't see anything that's jumping out at me across the news wires. But so we're coming into a potential demand area here. All of this can be regarded as a demand area. So looking for a deceleration in this price for a move up. So currently can't do anything with this while it's running away. It's on the front side of the bearish trend. If we come drill down to a 15-minute chart, we can just leave it there and look for a deceleration, monitor the structure, and we'll address it later on. I'm leaving, well, I'm going to take that off for now, but as per a swing trade, I'd be looking for the price to come back in for the opportunity to sell, probably from lower down. Now, let's clear up the chart entirely. So we've now got resistance down here. So I'd probably stagger. I mean, if I were to do this on a sell limit, I'd probably stagger my entries. So dollar cost average in, selling a piece on the move up and more higher up, and stops above the highs. But that's from a swing trading perspective. But from a day trading perspective, we're looking for a deceleration in this sell-off for an opportunity to um, to get long for the short squeeze. Just a quick one on stocks then. Taking the NAS for instance, we've got a peak formation low, a peak formation lower high. So we are in a downtrend. but perhaps similar to gold, we'll be looking for an opportunity to get long if we dump ahead of the Wall Street Open for a short squeeze up in line with the peak formation low. Moving to dollar CAD, I'm being asked. Dollar CAD is on the front side still of of the of today's bullish trend, but I'll be looking here for the move lower. So we've got support in here. Right, so these are the levels to take note of. We've got last week's highs over here. We've dropped, moved up, 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 up. We're now into level 3 of last week's range. So level 1 down low, level 3 up high. So we want to be selling from up high within that range. So on the other hand, just be cautious that because you'll have stops above the weekly highs, last week's highs. So just be cautious that we're not building up for a test of last week's highs. So there might be better candidates than the Canadian dollar, although we are in the upper end of the range. So by all means, look for shorts, but just be cautious of prospects of a continuation higher before the move lower. So we are on the second day of the week. We've had a low put in. I'm going to move this peak formation up to here. We've had a low put in here, and we've taken out the highs. So we've stopped hunt. We've done a stop hunt above yesterday's highs. So that could be the fuel now for a move for a squeeze lower. So double top being put in. Support over here. So 1 second. So we're looking for prospects of a move up from this support area. So just be looking for the move up, building up resistance before the move lower. But there is a bearish scenario building up. Euro dollar. So with the euro, we've come down into a potential supporting area. And from there, we can expect a correction higher, correction from the support area. So this is the bearish sell-off. So prospects of a move up. So we've got 106.50 on the cards. You need to get beyond 106.25. Those lows over there, potential resistance. Minor resistance here, given that wick. Could see a reaction point from there. But the major resistance is going to be between 106.25 and 50. Right, but we're definitely breaking up. We're in bullish territory now. Right, so we've broken that bearish trend. We're breaking structure over here. Okay, so ideally what we want to see, well, for the Wall Street Open, so I'm just fixing that, would be a move. So perhaps we're coming up into test a little bit higher, a drop, and then a continuation higher would be ideal. Okay. Right. So, I mean, I'd just be a bit cautious doing anything before the consumer sentiment and Wall Street Open. But we are building a bullish prospect for a session trade to the upside. Same with the Aussie, same sort of scenario. So we've done the stop hunt below those lows from yesterday. We came down, stop hunt, move up. We're building the case for a continuation to the upside. For the Aussie, New Zealand CAD. New Zealand CAD. Right, let me look at this. Right, well, it looks as though it wants to come up into sort of forming a W formation, perhaps. Oops, wrong color. This here. So maybe up in towards this weekly target. So there are prospects of a move to the upside within that bearish channel on the weekly chart. Coming down to the daily chart, we have a decisive move up in towards well, these wicks really. So we're coming up into resistance for a pullback, perhaps. We've got this W formation on the 4-hour chart. This is resistance. So I'd be a bit cautious chasing, trying to buy that at the moment. I'd be looking for a short from, well, I mean, you can hazard a guess that the market's going to come up in to test 80.70. And I'd be looking at this point for the deceleration for a fade back into the origin of the impulse, perhaps something like into here. And I'd use the Fibonacci's from the bottom of the rally to wherever it's going to start petering out. Let's call it around 70. I'll be looking for a 50% mean reversion back into the neckline of that W formation, aligning with a 50% mean reversion. But no idea where that rally is going to end. But that's just a, hypothetically speaking, a scenario. Okay, looking at US 30. Right, so pulling a chart back to, must have been a monthly. Let's have a look at the monthly chart. Yeah, so we've got that W formation on the monthly chart. We've come back into the neckline. So just be aware of that, that this is potentially a strong demand area. So if we're dumping into the Wall Street Open, we can be looking for the pump up. Yeah, so we've come down heavily, haven't we, since the start of the day? So I'd be looking to buy the market at some point if a opportunity presents itself from the low of the day, ideally. So the criteria would be for the market to decelerate, start building bullish structure on the lower time frames. So perhaps somewhere down in here, it's going to start decelerating, building structure, break of structure to go up, something like that. Okay, go back to the origin of the wild drop. Yeah, dump and pump. Oh well, happened without us. No idea what's going on with gold. Very volatile. I mean, there's not really much you can do with something like that. You know, if it's not giving you the setup, I mean, that was a strong move up. Very little you can do with something like that. Right. So just remember, Mondays and Tuesdays set us up for cleaner trades on a Wednesday. On Wednesday, Thursday, for a Friday. I like the 3 day setups. So if you can get something out of a Monday and Tuesday, then great. Ideally, Wednesdays and Fridays are my favorite days for setups. Okay. Right then. So for gold, we are peak formation low, perhaps. Perhaps that's the low of the day. Looking to this dollar to see if it's giving us signs of a continuation. So we've had a change of character, as you can see, now below yesterday's closing price. So a move up to come lower could be on the cards, and that could be the giving us the prospect if this wick gets filled over the next however long. So let's look at the 15-minute chart. So ideally, we want to see this coming down to give us the buying opportunity. for Wall Street and seeing how the land lies after consumer sentiment out of the US. Something like that would be ideal. In gold, similar with the S&P, the NAS, looking for longs. Euro's already made its move, peak formation low, break of structure. Not sure we can do anything with that. It's now in the middle of the day's range, or high up in the day's range, I should say. For the dump, it's pumped up. Maybe we're going to get the drop into Wall Street for another opportunity to get long. Same with cable, coming down low to get long. Same with the euro. Perhaps it's going to come back on itself within bullish territory. Perhaps it's going to drop and give us an opportunity to get long. Okay, so I think we'll leave it there. Unless there's any other questions regards to any other pairs. For me, I'm sitting on my hands, seeing how Wall Street and 10 o'clock major news from the US. And if moves happen before and within all of that, then so be it. And tomorrow would be a preferred day for trading. All right, so thanks very much, guys, and we'll see you a bit later in the chat room.